Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from 7th group and we would like to explain about linguistic aspect of interlanguage. And then before we explain about the material, let me introduce my members group. The first is me, Dinia Aulia Arifin, and then Nia Rizka Amalia, and the last is Laila Zulfa Maulina. Let's get started. Okay, the first part of linguistic aspect of interlanguage is typological universal. In this chapter, discuss about some languages which is languages vary have and use relative clause structure. There are some effects of using relative clause. The first one, learners who use the first language includes relative clause more easier than learn than first language who do not. And then second one, the linguistic properties of relative clause affect second language acquisition. And then third, the structure of a relative clause on second language acquisition can be identified. And then the second part of linguistic aspect of interlanguage is universal grammar. For example, in this chapter is the actress blamed herself. The subject actress co-references with reflexive herself in the sense that both words refer to the same person within same clause. Thus, English only permit local binding and long distances binding is prohibited.
Yeah, the next is learnability. According Chomsky, claimed that certain learning element must rely on innate knowledge of language so that the input to which children are exposed is insufficient to enable them to discover the role of language they are trying to learn. The basic input consists of two pieces of evidence, positive and negative evidence. Before we know that second language acquisition is a process where people learn a second language, right? Mastery of a second language is also a discipline that is intended for a process. The student must to carrying their language that they have when they were born, so they feel difficult to understand language. Positive provides information is about grammatical language, and the negative provides direct evidence of what is ungrammatic. Okay, the next is the critical period hypothesis. The critical period hypothesis, actually the success of language learning depends on the way the first of second language is occurred. The hypothesis period, the critical period hypothesis here means that if language acquisition does not occur at puberty, several aspects of language can be learned but cannot be achieved.
The next point is about access to universal grammar. In this point, there are some theories that about this agreement how that the second language learner have access to universal grammar. The first is complete access. It means that the full target of the competence of language. And the second is no access. It means that the universal grammar is not available to adult or the learners because they rely on general structure. And the third is partial access. It means that it's another access to the second language for the learners. And the last is dual access. It means when the learners use of both of universal grammar and general learning strategies. And the next point is about markedness. In this point, the next point is markedness. It means that the uncertainty regarding the contribution of linguistics, the theory to the study of the second language. This term refers to the natural or general structure. Okay, the last point is cognitive versus linguistic explanation. In this point, cognitive linguistic can be the media through the structure of the information. It involves the natural language as a means to create, process, and open the information. And the cognitive linguistic can help the second learners to study approach and others. Okay, and the conclusion of linguistic aspects of interlanguage, it can help the learners of the second language to develop the language. Okay, we are from the 7 groups. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.